In today's video, I'm going to show you how my chalkboard was mercilessly hacked by my nieces and nephews. Can you believe this? Look at this. Anyway, in all seriousness, today we're actually going to get into the difference between product nCAC and your company nCAC or your universal nCAC. We're going to reveal how you do that in today's video. So in our last video, we talked about nCAC zones for our fictitious beauty and wellness brand. This is a $10 million brand. We've got the average order value or lifetime value of clients for them is about $500. And we figured out through the series of videos that are on this channel here, what their new customer acquisition cost is. Now, that is all well and good, but that is for their entire business. What would happen if you actually had different products with different price points, different profitability points? How do you then measure nCAC? This is what we refer to as a global or universal or company nCAC, okay? Because we took the entire business, $10 million business, okay? You can go back through some of the videos that are probably in and around this video here and go back through how we actually came to these numbers as to what are the scale zones, what are the chill zones, and what are the kill zones. So we've got three separate zones here on nCAC, and nCAC, of course, is new customer acquisition cost. And we've just actually released a resource for you to actually do this on your own through a PDF download as well as a spreadsheet where you can actually plug in some of the numbers from this video. Go over and grab that over at tier11.com/nCAC, all one word, nCAC. So grab that. First thing that you want to do though is you do want to look at your universal nCAC, and that's what we did with this business. $10 million business. Okay, they've got 20,000 customers in the last 12 months. We had to pick 12 months as a good period of time. It's usually a good benchmark for this type of business. Beauty brands, usually in most cases, these individuals are buying more than one product. And then when they're buying more than one product, they're actually coming back multiple times, typically 5, 6, 7 times to buy the same product. So really good client retention, which we'll talk to in future videos. But these were the numbers that we decided. We said, okay, if we are within $150 to $200 for our nCAC, using obviously Tier 11 Data Suite, or you can use the CRM or your Shopify backend to actually pull that data. It's much more of a manual pull. So if we know that we're getting anywhere between 150 and 200 globally, we're making money based upon operating expenses, based upon costs of goods sold. So if you are in the 150 to 200 nCAC zone, this is obviously an area where you want to start pouring on the gas. You want to start increasing ad spend. You want to start doing different strategies like our feeder strategy, dog pile strategy, audiences. You want to maybe even add additional platforms potentially. So if you're in that range, you're in a good spot. However, if you're in the chill zone, which is sort of the mid-range, you're still making money, but you're a busy professional. Your marketing team is probably doing a lot of other things. Maybe focus in on your top of funnel content or your content marketing. Maybe just keep your ad spend where it is. You're comfortable in this zone. That's what we refer to as the chill zone. And then last but not least is the kill zone. Anything that's between $200 and $275 customer acquisition cost for nCAC, not for universal CAC, not for all CAC, not for our CAC. Our CAC is returning customer acquisition costs. You are going to get, once you throw the net out there, you are going to get customers who have bought from you before. There is no question about this. With Google, Meta, TikTok, every single platform, you are going to acquire customers again using your current ads. It's just the way that it is. It doesn't matter if you use great exclusions. With Tier 11 Data Suite, we have outstanding exclusion lists, but Meta and Google still put those people back in when we're trying to find a conversion. So you can't really fight it. But what you can do is you can separate out your nCAC from your ACAC, or a lot of people call it RCAC, which is returning customer acquisition cost. So if you're not familiar with all these terms, make sure you download the MPI PDF so you understand exactly what we're talking about here. That's over at tier11.com/MPI. So a lot of resources for you there. The point is this is a universal nCAC. This is a company nCAC. What do we do for individual products? Well, we're going to get into that in the next section here, which requires a different level of math. Okay, for this particular beauty brand, our global nCAC, as I said before, is anywhere between 150 on the low end and 275 on the high end. That is quite a range. So the best way to figure out what your individual product nCAC is really simple. The first thing that you want to do is you want to go into your back end of Shopify and figure out what are your best sellers, okay? This is the first step. So in our case here, we actually figured out what their 5 best-selling products were. And one was what we refer to as a radiance booster. Their second best-selling product was an SPF cream. Their third best-selling product was a lip liner. The one after that, I believe, was a lip serum. And then last but not least was an eyeliner. So these are your best sellers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all you need to do is just go to the back end of your Shopify store and sort by product and see which products actually have the greatest volume. Pick a look back period. In our particular case here, we're using a 12-month look back period. So all we did is we went back in and we looked at all these individual products. So these are the top 5 sellers. Now, another part to this is that you need to do some math here. You can do this by the numbers app, which is a great app that we recommend. Like I said in earlier videos, you can get a free 30-day trial of the By the Numbers app, and then you can do a lot of the data collection that we're talking about here, or you can just do this manually. So in our individual case here, when we were looking at their total company nCAC, they actually had a gross profit margin of about 65%. So this is 65%, okay? That's their global nCAC with their global gross profitability, okay? And let's just take, for example, when you do the math for your entire product catalog, it's really important. However, you're gonna find pockets within your best sellers where you're gonna have greater profitability and you're gonna have less profitability. And when I talk about profitability here, I'm talking about gross profit. Gross profit is the actual selling price minus your cost of goods sold. If you're not sure what that is, there'll be links in this video or in and around this video to refresh you on that. And of course, you can get all of these numbers, which we refer to as marketing performance indicators, over at tier11.com/MPI. So each one of these individual products, and I'm just going to use this as roughly as an example. I remember a lot of these, not right off the top of my head, but let's say Radiance, the Radiance product had about 50% gross profitability. The SPF cream at about a 75%. Lip liner was about 40%. The lip serum was right in and around 40%. And last but not least, the eyeliner was actually in and around 72% gross profit. So when you look at these in aggregate, if you actually add them all up through, we won't do the math here, these 5 individual products, if you actually added all of those up, and then roughly you're probably getting to around 65% gross profitability. So it makes sense. Your top 5 products, in this particular case, is about 20-25% of their total sales for their entire online store come through these products and or similar products. These are product categories in many cases. So they might, for your business, they might be an individual product. Maybe you only sell one eyeliner. Maybe you only sell one Radiance cream. And if you're an e-commerce store, you can group this into categorizations for your individual business. So if you look at these individual numbers here, you see that some sort of stand out in the category of the SPF creams. Okay, this is a product that they use in order to promote as a bundle of different products to create a specific type of look for their store. They're very much into the overall look, not necessarily the product. So they're not selling a product, they're selling the transformation that the product actually creates for them. So this is a really smart way of marketing, especially in the beauty space, or especially in any space that does sell transformation with a combination of products. See this a lot in the supplement space as well. Former affiliate, it was the berry weight loss with the colon cleanse. I wouldn't recommend buying either one of those products, but bundling products is as old as this was happening way before Amazon. And we can actually see this inside Amazon. People who bought this also buy this. So Amazon knows when you bundle and when you actually create a basket of products, you're increasing your NAOV, your new average order value. And then by and large, hopefully you should be increasing your RAOV, which is your returning average order value. Once they consume those products and they want more of them, they come back and buy again and again. So bundling products is very smart, which is what this company actually does. So if we look at all these individuals, okay, we've got the SPF cream category and the individual product at about a 75% gross margin, and the eyeliner category is at about a 72% gross profitability. Once again, gross profitability is selling price minus cost of goods sold. So in this particular case, they are selling their product at a 28% cost for eyeliner, and here they're selling it at a 25% cost. So very, very highly profitable. So for this client, what they've been able to figure out is that if they bundle the products in a specific look, they can actually get people to buy more on that individual average order value. However, a lot of the retargeting is done by category. And so when people come and look, for example, to buy all these individual 5 products, and in many cases they maybe sell 6 or 7 different products for a specific look that they're trying to portray to a potential client or a potential customer for them, maybe they don't buy all of them. So through dynamic product ads, obviously through Google Shopping, through a lot of the things that you can now do through retargeting, you can retarget based upon the category that they maybe added to cart or they looked at the product page, but they didn't buy. And so then you can set up your product feed specific to these individual categories and or the individual product. If you don't have as many SKUs, if you don't have categories and you only have singular products, you can retarget them with those singular products or products that are related to the product that they added to cart or that they viewed. So this is sort of simple retargeting from a digital marketing standpoint. So here's what we do usually when we look at a client that says, all right, well, I'm not really sure what I should market first. I'm not really sure what ads I should market first when they come to us. Like, we go through the nCAC calculations globally, then we go through their individual products and we start to determine, okay, well, maybe we should really focus a lot of our energies based upon this product right here, okay? The SPF cream. So then you create creative around that. You create messaging around that for the individual product itself and or the category, because you will be able to actually spend even more than the $150 to $275 because they'll be buying a product that has a higher gross profitability. So you might be able to spend in our scale, chill, kill zones. You might be able to spend more in the chill zone as opposed to the scale zone. So maybe $200 to $250 is a better nCAC for the SPF cream category. So this is all math that you can do prior to spending any money. You need to know these types of numbers in order for your business to not only grow, but grow and scale profitably. That's the key. Growth without profitability is a business that goes out of business. So it's really important to make sure that you understand these things. So eyeliner, that's another category that is super profitable at a 72% gross profitability. These are great margins, by the way, in the e-commerce space. Overall, really good gross profitability. I would probably not start with eyeliner and with lip serum, because it's at 40% gross profitability, significantly less. You really need to hit this lower end, this 150 range, potentially, for any level of scale, profitable scale that is, in order to get an nCAC in and around that area, which is harder to do. Remember, the more you are willing and able to spend to acquire a customer, the more you can beat your competition. However, you need to be able to do it in a smart way so that you maintain profitability. You can take this one step further by really delving into some of the mechanics behind some of these individual products. Is there a greater operating expense here? Okay, if you sell more of the SPF cream, does that mean that I'm gonna have to hire more staff? Does that mean I'm gonna have to add more software, more pick and pack people to my production line? These are all things that sort of come under the operating expenses category which you're going to have to factor in. But the point is you sort this by profitability based upon best selling, you'll really see that you can start focusing in on individual product NCAC as an adjunct to your overall nCAC. And that's how you win in this game. Now, a tip for all of you that are out there in the beauty space is that if you can bundle products together in order to create a specific look that's ideal for your client, you can then not only increase your NAOV, okay, which is your net average order value, but you can also increase your NP. And if you've been watching any of these videos, NP is net profitability. So, and that's how you really grow and scale. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. Go look in the back end of your Shopify store, or if you have individual products, which are the ones that are your best sellers, which are the ones that have the greatest profitability. You have to pick a look back period. In this particular case, we did a 12-month look back period, just because that's sort of an easy calculation for a $10 million business. And that $10 million business, their sales and revenue are up 47% this quarter alone in Q1, and their new customer acquisition is up 73%. And their profitability is actually up by 17%, which is tremendous. That's year over year for a 3-month span, because they follow this formula. They know the math, they understand what things are working well. And one of the really cool parts to this is that with this particular beauty brand, they actually were white labeling or actually buying other companies' products, which were not very good profitability wise. Some of these down here, which I guess probably I should use a red chalk. Thankfully, the kids didn't use up all the red chalk. Point is like some of these products here are ones that they don't manufacture, whereas these here are the ones that they're actually creating their own brand around. And that's the most important thing. Is like if you can control everything, the supply chain all the way through, you can then lower your costs. And by selling other people's products almost as an affiliate, and then figuring out the ones that are the best sellers, and then creating your own product that has greater profitability, is the real key to e-commerce success in many, many cases. And we've seen that ring true many times. So just a little tip for you there at the tail end of this video. So hopefully that explains the difference between ACAC up here and individual nCAC for product or product nCAC. Company nCAC versus product nCAC, two very important numbers that you need to know as a business owner. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, you subscribe so you don't miss any videos that we come out on these types of real business metrics that matter, because if you don't understand your business metrics, you really can't scale. And so business metrics that matter and growth that scales is what we're all about here at Tier 11. And of course, if you need our help, head on over to tier11.com. We also have tier11beauty.com, exactly how it's spelled. Check out that page as well if you're a beauty brand and you need our assistance. Till next video, we'll talk to you then.